What's up, guys? This is a pretty good compilation article I just read, and it was talking about some stuff I wasn't even aware of it going back to like 2011. But it talks about, this guy writes about how the NFL's role in teaming up with FEMA and FEMA camps, and we know partially that this is the truth, because you can go back to Hurricane Katrina when they rounded them up and put them in the the New Orleans. And I've heard some vile stories coming out of what happened down there, like women getting raped and people getting robbed. And I've heard some pretty sick stuff that came out of Hurricane Katrina at New Orleans Stadium. But this might be one of the pictures right here. This is a good article, and it talks about how they're just teaming up with them. I'll put this video, you can listen to it at the end, but he talks about how, I didn't know this, March 24th, 2011, at Giant Stadium, DHS and local law enforcement conducted a relocation drill in which civilians were transported to the stadium. And you ought to hear this guy's story on what he heard and what he dealt with. It makes you think. And this is right here. What's the difference? What's the difference? Especially this right here. What's the difference? And they're trying to compare the stadiums to the TSA now. And you saw what happened at the Super Bowl last year. Is they wouldn't even allow police officers to have guns in there. Even people that were registered couldn't even have a firearm in there. And it was pretty evasive what I heard going on with security and stuff. But look right here. What's the difference? What's the difference right here? TSA, what's the difference? And then also in September 23, it talked. This one makes me pretty mad. Where it says at my son's middle school, we cannot even have go back. It says 2011 September, children without warning were abducted from the Denver schools by FEMA and taken to the Colorado Sports Authority football stadium. At my son's middle school, we cannot even have my son's aunt pick him up unless she is registered with the school and shows identification. Yet FEMA can literally abduct children from their schools without parental permission or notification. This is an outrage. And this happened in 2011. You might say that's 2011, but it's just a build-up. It's just a continual build-up. But anyway, this is another place. This is back in Denver. Did the same thing. I think they had the parents and the kids separated, and was doing the same thing right here. This is going to the NFL stadiums, talking about how it's breaking up the families. Families go left, females go right. I mean, I can just see it. And then you remember Bob Costas was talking about we need gun control. What does gun control got to do with football? It's all an agenda. Everything in life has an agenda. You just got to figure out what agenda someone's trying to make. But anyway, like I said, this is a pretty good article combining all kind of stuff. And like I said, we saw it with Katrina. You can just go back and look at those videos.
Now, we've been in the Denver metro area today covering a widespread martial law takeover drill within the city known as Operation Mountain Guardian. That operation is sponsored by the Department of Homeland Security. We saw earlier today a Mumbai-style attack at a suburban mall in the area. There was also a staged attack on a train and bus facility. Then later this morning, we witnessed a SWAT-style raid against an elementary school where they staged a shooting. And then what we learned there was that the children from that staged shooting were being relocated at the sports stadium you see directly behind me. We then investigated what was going on at the sports stadium and found in their own press releases admissions that they were planning to test the relocation processing of students and teachers during this drill. We were then tipped off by security personnel on this side of the stadium that indeed buses had brought children into the stadium, but no media or press was allowed inside. When we came around to the south end tunnel, we witnessed those buses as well as vehicles from the Denver Public School Safety and Security Department, including the supervisor. Following that, we spoke to a stage mother, a mock mother, who was here to pick up children from the facility, which led us to then talk to Denver Police Victims Response Unit head Scott Snow, the Victim Assistance Unit, and he told us that indeed the end goal of this exercise or any real event that might happen was to get the children to this stadium where the parents could then be reunified with them. Just incredible events as we see more and more of a federalization of police and military and a total takeover of these metro areas in a fear-mongering panicking for a terrorism event.
Okay, how's everybody doing? All right, I just learned something. This is a report. When I make these report videos, that means I'm reporting something that's happening in my area, my neck of the woods, and I recommend you all do the same thing. Okay, FEMA had an exercise at Giants Stadium, at a stadium nearby me, nearby where I live. Federal Emergency Management Agency FEMA and its federal, state, and local partners will conduct an exercise codenamed Red Zone. Okay, let me stop right there. Let me repeat that one word. Red Zone. Does that remind anybody of the red list, blue list, yellow list? Anyways, continuing to read this, on Saturday, March 19th, to evaluate response concepts, response plans, and capabilities at New Meadowlands Stadium. The exercise will focus on local emergency responder command and control condition, critical decisions and notifications, and an integration of state and federal assets necessary to save lives and protect public health and safety. People, I know most of you know what they're really up to, okay? This is training for this is training, okay? When in an emergency, they're going to be locating you people to FEMA camps and also to these huge stadiums, okay? They did it in New Orleans when they brought people into the stadiums. They're training to bring people, thousands of people into these stadiums. I mean, people don't go to these stadiums during an emergency. I'm going to leave the link. There's a link to this site that I'm reading. Now, when I first heard about this, my dad told me that he was talking to somebody at work, and the guy said that he's seen at least what looked like to be 5 Black Hawk helicopters with machine guns, with weapons on the front of these helicopters. And they were low, almost low enough to look like they were going like in and out of the stadium. If you don't know anything about the FEMA camps, about martial law that's coming, you need to do the research now. Go look on my blog. Go on my channel. Look at my other friends' channels. This is training for what they're going to be doing to you. During martial law, they're going to be putting you people into these stadiums. People, during an emergency, do not go anywhere. Do not report to anywhere they tell you to go. You need to be self-governing. You need to take care of yourself during an emergency. People, let me put it this way to you. If you go anywhere FEMA tells you to go, or the government tells you to relocate in an emergency, they are going to kill you. This exercise that was done at this stadium, it was nothing good about it. They weren't doing this for your safety. Okay? They're gonna be filling up these stadiums during martial law, during an emergency.
Moving on to something that me and YouTube user Workman24 have been talking about. Now I'd like to read this to you guys. A theory about FEMA camps and NFL football stadiums. And now here's what he says. I don't know what is coming, Nibiru, World War III, solar flare, or economic collapse, but I know something is being prepared for. If you look at what happened during Hurricane Katrina, you can get an idea what the response would be like during a major disaster. Getting to the point, the evacuees during Hurricane Katrina were mainly sent to 2 different places, Louisiana Superdome and Houston Astrodome. Now, I don't know if you follow football, but it's the largest sports organization in the world, making over $9 billion a year. Since Katrina, there have been over a dozen brand new state-of-the-art stadiums built in New York, Boston, Chicago, Philadelphia, D.C., Pittsburgh, Dallas, and many more. These stadiums will be all available to refugees in a major disaster because there will be no football next year. Is that coincidence, guys? Come on, man. Think about it. You know how much money these players make and the NFL makes off of sports, football? Think about it. Anyways, it makes perfect sense if you look at it. The league had an agreement that went through 2012, but they decided to opt out of it for whatever reason. Why would anyone throw away $9 billion? What's most important is people don't realize is that even though the first games won't be played until September, the teams would still have off-season workouts starting in April. With no agreement in place, the stadiums will be left vacant, and that would allow anyone with knowledge of an impending event, in other words, FEMA, to prepare for the stadiums, to prepare the stadiums without anyone knowing. Also, you can expect the owners to receive decent compensation for housing refugees for the government. If you look up commercial prisons, you will see that even though commercially run prisons are not widespread, it is still generating over $2 billion a year in revenue. Okay? Commercial prisons are paid per inmate, meaning the more you can fit, the more dollars in your pocket. Funny that the new stadiums are all breaking capacity records, some holding over 100,000 people. One other thing is that the Budweiser, which is a major beneficiary of the NFL, has started making canned water. I did report on that here a few days back. Think about that, guys. Halliburton subsidiary KBR has been awarded a contract announced by the Department of Homeland Security's United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement component. The indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity contingency contract is to support ICE facilities and has a maximum value of $385 million over a 5-year term. The contract provides for establishing temporary detention and processing capabilities in the event of an emergency influx of immigrants into the United States. Bull crap, people. All right, we know what this is about. Anyways, just like they stopped having games in the Colosseum before the collapse of Rome, the stadiums of the United States will be empty before its organized collapse. Or will they be empty? Thank you, Workman24. You guys check them out. Say hello. Tell them I sent you. Not sure of what exactly the kind of information that he's putting out on his site, but this information here that we've been corresponding with, back and forth with each other with, makes perfect sense to me. So I'm going to give him a shout out and send you guys this way, at least if anything, to say hello. So that's what we're looking at, people. A lot of crazy stuff going on in this world, and well, it's bound to stress everybody out. Don't let it stress you out. Let it take you to another direction in regards to preparation. We're not food mongering here. We're telling you about the craziest stuff in the world happening right now. Now, you guys need to be prepared for this, okay? I love each and every one of you.
Do not go anywhere they tell you to relocate, okay? I'm going to put more links to more information about FEMA, martial law. Take the time. If you don't know nothing about the FEMA camps, if you don't know nothing about martial law, take the time to go click on these links to do some research. Do not go anywhere they tell you to relocate. Prepare and get right with God.